วัสดีค่ะสำหรับคุณพ่อคุณแม่ที่มีลูกน้อยวัยกำลังซนอยู่ที่บ้านแต่หากเด็กมีลักษณะบางอย่างที่อาจมากกว่าความซนดื้อทั่วไปนั่นอาจเป็นอาการของโรคสมาธิสั้นอยู่ก็ได้นะคะสังเกตได้จากอาการดังนี้ 1. ขาดสมาธิโดยเด็กมักจะเบี่ยงเบนความสนใจจากสิ่งหนึ่งไปอีกสิ่งหนึ่งได้อย่างรวดเร็วทำงานที่ได้รับมอบหมายไม่ครบถ้วนตามคำสั่งและอาจใช้เวลานานเวลาที่พูดด้วยก็จะเหมือนไม่ได้ยินหรือสมาธิไม่ได้จดจ่ออยู่กับสิ่งที่เราพูดทำให้ไม่สามารถจำเรื่องราวที่เพิ่งฟังหรือดูได้ 2. หุนหันพลันแล่นไม่สามารถฟังผู้อื่นพูดหรือถามได้จนจบประโยคมักจะตอบโต้หรือตอบกลับในทันทีมักรบกวนผู้อื่นไม่ค่อยมีความอดทนในการรอและ 3. ซนอย่างไม่สมกับวัยชอบการปีนป่ายไม่กลัวอันตรายยุกยิกอยู่นิ่งไม่เป็นแต่โรคสมาธิสั้นนั้นเด็กที่เรียบร้อยไม่ยุกยิกก็สามารถเป็นได้เช่นกันสังเกตได้จากปัญหาทางด้านการเรียนคือเด็กมักจะทำงานที่ได้รับมอบหมายไม่เสร็จหรือทำไม่ได้เพราะไม่เข้าใจในสิ่งที่ครูพูดเนื่องจากไม่มีสมาธิแต่ไม่ต้องตกใจไปค่ะเพราะเราสามารถดูแลรักษาอาการเหล่านี้ได้ด้วยวิธีต่อไปนี้ 1. ให้เด็กอยู่ใกล้ชิดกับตัวอย่างพฤติกรรมที่ดีเช่นการเรียนหนังสืออยู่กับเพื่อนที่เรียบร้อยตั้งใจเรียนไม่นั่งอยู่ในจุดที่มองไม่เห็นประตูหรือหน้าต่าง 2. ให้เด็กมีตารางกิจวัตรประจำวันอย่างชัดเจน 3. ใช้เวลาอยู่กับเด็กให้มากขึ้นเพราะเด็กสมาธิสั้นบางคนมีปัญหาด้านพัฒนาการร่วมอาจต้องอาศัยเวลาในการเรียนรู้ทำความเข้าใจมากกว่าเด็กอื่นๆและมีช่วงเวลาว่างให้เด็กพักเพื่อผ่อนคลาย 4. เมื่อต้องมีคำสั่งให้เด็กปฏิบัติตามควรสบตาเพื่อดึงความสนใจของเด็กมาที่ผู้พูดอธิบายสั้นๆอย่างชัดเจนและให้เด็กทวนคำสั่งอีกครั้ง 5. มอบหมายงานที่เด็กน่าจะสามารถทำให้สำเร็จได้อย่างแน่นอนเพื่อให้เด็กเรียนรู้การที่จะประสบความสำเร็จและไม่รู้สึกด้อยกว่าเด็กคนอื่นๆและ 6. เด็กสมาธิสั้นจะไม่รู้และไม่คำนึงถึงเวลาจึงควรฝึกให้เด็กดูนาฬิกาและเรียนรู้ที่จะแบ่งปันเวลาในการทำกิจกรรมต่างๆได้อย่างเหมาะสมทั้งหมดนี้ก็เป็นวิธีดูแลเด็กสมาธิสั้นที่คุณพ่อคุณแม่สามารถปฏิบัติได้เองมาใส่ใจและใช้เวลากับเด็กๆให้มากขึ้นเพื่อพัฒนาการที่ดีของพวกเขากันเถอะค่ะสวัสดีค่ะ
Could you put that ball away, please?
It's a child that requires an awful lot of attention, and teachers feel, well, if I could be sitting next to him all the time, it would be fine. I mean, the problem is managing a child with ADHD in a class with 29 other children, basically.
And you're going to go out into the cloakroom, boys and girls, quietly.
This child is not responding in the same way that most other children do to what is generally seen as standard, effective practice.
And you're going to get changed, and please remember to keep doing it quietly and to put your clothes in a nice neat pile on the table. Okay? Quickly. Come on, quickly.
No, Ellen?
Here at Manor Primary School, Carol Hardwick has a third of her class either statemented or with emotional, social, behavioural issues.
It's very exhausting, but the class, you get to know them, you get to know all their issues. The whole class is demanding in different ways.
Well, you've got to do, Claudia. You've got to.
Two of her pupils are diagnosed with ADHD. James also has dyspraxia and dyslexia. Claudia is on the autistic spectrum.
We've been friends ever since reception. I have hyperactivity and they just hyperactive. She's got it. Yeah, we both got it. We both got ADHD. Well, it makes you go hyper, you know, like silly.
Carol has taught this Year 5 class once before in Year 3, and she has seen some challenging behaviour.
In the past, I've had children going under the table, storming out of the room, throwing things in frustration. You can have days when some of the behavioural issues take over. What you have to do is make sure you balance it out because at the end of the day, you've got 30 children in that class.
Her experience with them has helped her to formulate a number of strategies that work with all her pupils and keep class disruption to a minimum.
I set up a visual timetable for the children so that when they come in, you see a lot of the children will come up and look at the board and they'll see the visual signs. They know how to follow it. The minute you change the format, that throws them, they become insecure, and then that's when you have difficulties with their learning. Down here, I've put a little map on the table, and we've got literacy groups, maths groups and friendship groups on there, so the children can come in and just check, because often it's just that security of knowing where they are and what they should be doing. As you can see, this is a display of the children's work, but we do it in such a way that it's not confusing. There's another thing with children on the autistic spectrum. They find clutter and things all put too closely together hard to separate. They like to know it as their classroom. If you change it too much, then it's almost like starting a new year again. They've got to get used to where everything is. I'm going to take you over to this area, which is an area where our children with more particular needs can come and have a bit of space, a bit of quiet. So this is the area where they work with their INAs or they work with friends away from groups when they need to.
Hello. Hi, Mom. Hey, I see spots. We can attract the leopard by making it cool. Oh, just put your stuff back.
The beginning of the day can be quite horrendous if it's not managed. So when they come in the morning, it's about having the right atmosphere. It's about having it calm.
Okay, get your headphones on and Claudia, go.
I work on a system where, with my team, we set up activities for them to do as soon as they come in so they know what they're doing.
Pupils arrive and immediately open their books and begin to work.
Okay, does everybody understand what they're supposed to be doing?
Yes.
What are you stuck on, Finley? What's wrong with number 2?
Next door in the ICT suite, the less able pupils work on phonics.
Next one, Claudia. Now I need you to do these words. Song. Song. Good girl. How can we
Sing a
put...
little rookie song.
Good girl. Keep going then, Claudia. Song.
No, that's what a spelling's all about, isn't it? It's practising, and then when it comes to a spelling test, you'll have learned them.
The school is aware that assembly can also be tricky for some of its pupils, so there's a more active jump-ahead session instead.
I think we've got another 3 more minutes, then we know when jump ahead is finished.
Children with ADHD would find assembly time particularly difficult. There's a lot of conversation, a lot of dialogue, which they might find challenging. So because of that, it's more appropriate for them to come and do something which supports them and develop social interaction with a particular group of their peers, which they might not ordinarily have.
Back in the classroom, Carol and her team have to be constantly on the lookout for pupils losing focus and going off task.
Right, let's have a look then, James. Who's that? I think so. Yeah. What do you think, James? Likely or unlikely?
Yeah,
You play rock, scissors, paper. Rock, paper, scissors.
by the way, my breath smells.
I find with any child that their level of concentration, after about 10 minutes, unless you've got a fantastic, all singing, all dancing session, you lose some of them. We do an awful lot of sending them off the carpet to work in groups and talk to each other.
I think you've been sitting on the carpet long enough now. I think you're ready to go off and do some fabulous group work for me. Right, off you go into your groups. Okay, right, off you go into your group circles.
The planning of that initially is quite hard, but once you get it in place, you tend to use a very similar format for all lessons.
Because a number of Carol's class have special needs, she may often have up to 4 other adults teaching in her class alongside her.
It takes a while to establish your team,
and it's all about communication amongst the team. You have to draw on the experience of your team, you have to draw on people who may have worked with those children before, and then find a way that it fits into your way of teaching.
There is one obvious downside to having so many people working in such a confined space.
Working as a team, you begin to know when you're making too much noise. There's little signals.
You know, body language.
And I say there's lots of noise on that table, you know, where there's a TA working.
Yeah, there's a little green one that usually grows with grass, and it's got a leaf that looks like this, and it's got 1, 2.
There will be plenty of times when a child with ADHD may even use their ADHD as an excuse. The more one gets to know the child as an individual, the more one is able to distinguish between those times when the ADHD is at work and when it isn't, if you like.
Other members of the staff need to learn about that child, and then together we create consistent boundaries and, you know, ways of dealing with problems with those children. And that's the important thing, is that we all do the same. We all say the same. We all act the same way with those children. Boundaries have to be set really right at the beginning. And it's very hard those first few weeks because it seems as if you are being hard. But they actually learn to like those boundaries because they know your expectations. To make it work, I feel you have to be very organised, and forward planning is important. You have to be flexible, that you can drop, you know, at a drop of a hat, have a quick meeting.
To free up some staff time, the school often uses older pupils to help oversee assembly, leaving teachers and their TAs a few precious minutes to catch up and get some planning done.
Now, I wanted to talk to you all about the science that we're planning for this week, which is Earth, Sun and Moon, and really to get your ideas on which is a good way of setting them up for it. You know, just very simple questions about the sun and the moon. That will be their concept map. And then when they come into class and start working with the group, they'll be able to use the ideas that you've given them when you were talking to them to engage with the group more so that they can contribute.
We're learning about the planets, you see, on this book.
Right. Claudia.
Miss Sergeant
Claudia
has been up all night exploring.
Listen, what we're doing, Claudia, we're pre-teaching, so new learning journeys about the planets. This is a programme called Communicate in Print. So you have to have the programme on the computer, and as you type in the words,
isn't it? If you typed in camera, it'll come up and it'll just.
That's right. It comes up with the symbols, doesn't it?
So that's the diameter, it's the size of it. So is it a small thing or a large thing?
The Earth turns. It turns to the sun, then to the moon at night.
Because of this pre-teaching, and with the help of TAs, pupils can remain with the rest of the class whenever possible.
Does the Earth go round anywhere?
Being able to contribute in class does boost confidence levels, but many of these pupils can have issues with low self-esteem.
Nice little, mate.
Because their misbehaviour, as it appears, is construed as being volitional, this can have an effect on the child's self-esteem, that the child is being blamed for things that are beyond his or her control.
James, have you earned any reward time today?
To help nurture a more positive attitude about themselves and to school life, there is a daily reward system for basic good behaviour. It's also a handy bargaining tool.
So do you think you deserve your reward time today?
Yes.
One last question. Did you do your reading today? Why was that?
I was getting annoyed with it sometimes.
Right, bargain now, okay? Tomorrow you must do 2 lots of reading. Yes? Do we agree? If you can find a time when you can reward them with the things that they really like, the effort is they put much more effort into pleasing you.
I think reward time is great because we get to pick something. Yeah. And we have to earn the reward time. And we have to play on Ben 10 for a lesson. Ben 10. Yeah, that is well good.
Look, you're hanging round. You have to really show those children, they are so sensitive. You have to show them how much you like them, spend time talking to them, spend time sharing a book with them, especially at the beginning of the year. You know, just sitting down with them and all going out in the playground with them. You see your class are playing on the crocodiles?
You don't know where to play.
I was going to ask him, should we? We'll find out if we can have a game with them. So children know that the children in the class are different. And they are very sensitive to the needs of these children. And you would talk to the class about how they can help, the child with special needs.
Sometimes it'll distract our learning, but they're very nice to have in the class. They always teach you something new that you never have learnt before. They can be a little bit silly sometimes, but that's what's good about them.
Welcome everyone to our inclusion meeting.
The school has a weekly inclusion meeting where members of staff can discuss pupils' needs and troubleshoot when required.
Jump ahead group, yes.
Children are then very well known by all the staff, and this means potential problems are often curtailed before they occur. Nonetheless, it can't always be plain sailing, and Carol had a particularly bad third term.
You have to accept that, you need to ask for help when you need it. And I went and spoke to the head and I spoke to the inclusion manager, and between us we developed some strategies that I could take back into class. We also involved some outside agencies, just really giving us some pointers and giving you lots of praise. I think people forget that the teacher also needs to be praised for the success.
The child with ADHD could be seen as a barometer, if you like, sometimes. So if you get things right for the child with ADHD, you are getting things right for everybody.
Having these children in my class just makes you much more aware of your visual teaching, of ways children learn. I mean, I've found the whole experience very enriching. Tiring, but enriching.